seats for those of you who are just walking in. Any open seat is a good seat. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Lauren Shakes, and I'm the Associate Director at the Pikes Peak Small Business Development Center. And we co-host the monthly education series here with the Tri-Lakes Chamber. And we are really, really excited to have you here. First and foremost, this is most likely your lunch hour, so please feel free to eat. Eat whatever you brought. We have some waters over there for you. And second most important thing, the restrooms are in the back of the room. We have a really awesome presenter here today, and I know several of you that were at the quarterly luncheon back in December, wasn't it? You were able to see a short and condensed version of this presentation, and hopefully that's what brought you back today to go in depth. Hopefully figure out how the heck we all use LinkedIn and how we maximize it for our own businesses, for our personal networking. I know that's why I'm here. But thank you for all of you who own small businesses or work to support small businesses. Today, Andy's education series are an investment in yourself, an investment in your learning how to run your business more efficiently, more effectively. So thank you for taking the time to invest in yourselves. And with that, I would like to introduce Abigail from the Tri-Lakes Chamber. I'm sure many of you know her.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here today. So my name is Abigail, and I am the event planner on the Tri-Lakes Chamber of Commerce team. We get to do a lot of fabulous things throughout the year, and the heart of it all is to see businesses in our community and nonprofits in our community thrive, so that our community is flourishing in the future as we have the services that we need, as we're able to make a difference. So we are a nonprofit organization. We provide a lot of networking opportunities. We provide a lot of economic development opportunities, connection to government if you're trying to get permits passed and all those things. But events are a part of it. So this education series is part of our monthly series. We have one every month, and they are free to the public. So we have a number of other events. I put an event calendar on your table. So if you're interested in seeing other things that we do, you can get on there and look. But we are thrilled that you are here today. If we know you, we're so glad you're back. If you're brand new, we're glad you're here. It's my favorite to be able to be part of people creating meaningful connections. So I'm happy that we're talking about LinkedIn because it helps us create those meaningful connections. If you need the internet today, it is free Wi-Fi and it is Chamber. And also, I suggest if you have LinkedIn app on your phone, or if you don't, it might be helpful to pull it up so that you can follow along. But anyway, we're so glad you're here, and I'm going to introduce our sponsor today is Dan Spahn from UBI Business Consulting. So we're thrilled to have him here. I personally love all the technology resources, but having a coach to help you navigate where you're at in your season is really helpful. So Dan, would you come up and tell us a little bit about UBI Business Consulting? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. Thanks to Kevin. This is pretty neat. I've known him for going on 15 years now, and he helped us out at a company I was working for, and helped everybody that interfaced with any client or anybody outside the company bring their LinkedIn. And I'd recommend everybody do that. Anybody that interacts with someone outside of your organization is part of business development. And UBI, that's kind of what I specialize in, is sales, marketing, business development, consulting. So if you're a small company and your sales are growing, but you get self-limited, and it's typically because the owner-founder is the one doing the selling. And when he's not selling and managing the business, sales drops. When he's about selling, sales. So anyway, you come to the conclusion that you maybe need a dedicated sales function. That's one place I can help. And then the other kind of limitation I've seen in my experience with small businesses is when you grow beyond that, you get to dedicated sales. You start growing beyond that, you're adding people, and pretty soon trying to get everybody pulling in the same direction is the difficult task. You've added a lot of new people, there's a lot of new ideas coming. And what you really need then is a good mission, vision, and strategic plan that everyone can participate in and then start following, and then you'll get some traction and you'll take off. So anyway, yeah, I'm always available for a cup of coffee to sit and chat. I learn from chatting to other business owners about what you've experienced, what works and doesn't work. And so by all means, reach out and we can set up something and have coffee and see what happens.
Awesome, thanks. I appreciate UBI helping make this event possible, along with our partnership with the SBDC. The Small Business Development Center is a great resource for you to get coaching and services that you need. Dan's information's on your table, but without further ado, I will introduce our speaker, Kevin. We had him in December, and it was just delightful because this is not just what he does, it seems who he is cultivating relationships. So we're thrilled to have you here. I will be recording this. It will be listed on our website. So if you need to go back because there's something that you didn't catch, I will have a video available later. Kevin, thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. Hey, everybody. There's a bunch of people in here. I better not be bad. I don't have a filter, by the way. If I'm thinking it, I'm probably going to say it. So it's great to be here. We don't have a lot of time today, so I'm not going to get into a backstory or anything like that, but I'm going to give you 30 quick seconds just to give you some context. I actually lived here in Monument for about 15 years. And then in 2018, 2019, I actually moved to this house right here on the northern Oregon coast, 300 feet above the ocean. Didn't know COVID was coming, but if you had to ride out COVID someplace, it's not bad to be at the end of a one-lane dirt road in a village of 300 people. And then a couple of years later, my parents are in their late 80s, so now they're starting to have some physical and mental challenges, so I decided to come back and help them out. So I've been back now for a little while, but I know Monument like the back of my hand. I've had countless meals at Casa Fiesta. I used to live on top of, I lived in Woodmore right at the very peak. If you know exactly where to look when you're on 25, you could actually see my roof. So I know this area very, very well. Now I live in the Springs, but I'm here. So a couple ground rules. I'm going to throw a lot at you. It's going to be a little bit like drinking from a fire hydrant, okay? But I'm kindly asked to speak all around the world, so I cannot often say what I'm about to say. No matter how much I throw at you here today, it's just scratching the tip of the iceberg. But because I live here, and I'm not, like today, I'm not in Australia or Portugal or something like that. If you ever want to get a cup of coffee or have a Zoom meeting or something like that, if I'm available and not on the road, I'd be happy to get together with you and go a little deeper. Also, once a month, I do a pro bono, which is a $5 word for free, as a way to kind of pay it forward to the Colorado Springs Monument business community. About once a month, I do a 2-hour LinkedIn training in Colorado Springs. And if you're ever interested in that, just email me. I'll give you the details on where that's taking place. But thank you for having me, Abigail. Thank you so much for your kind introduction. Dan, it's great to see you. I can't believe we first crossed paths like 15 years ago. That's crazy. You and I got older, Abigail stayed younger, somehow that happened. So I'm not, normally if I had a lot of time, I'd give you kind of a little bit more backstory that would give you more context, but you're gonna be fine. I'm just gonna go very, very quickly. If you wanted to have really effective conversations through your phone, by the way, I'm a deadhead. There's the Grateful Dead on the back of my phone, okay? If you wanted to have really effective conversations through your phone, how much time would you spend studying the electronics in your phone? None. Isn't that interesting? But we live in a world now where people go, oh, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, that people have this kind of misunderstanding that they need to become a social media expert. And I don't think that's entirely accurate. All of us in this room can drive a car, but I bet there's very few of us that could actually fix a transmission. So as long as you know how to put the key in and turn it, and you know turn signals, and this is what the steering wheel does, or if you have a millennial anti-theft device known as a stick shift. Anybody ever remember stick shifts, right? But you don't have to study every nuance of the car to be an effective driver. So, yes, I know a lot about LinkedIn. Yes, I write books on it, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there's kind of an illusion going on here. An illusion is not the denial of something, it's the misunderstanding of something. So you don't have to become a LinkedIn expert to use LinkedIn to grow your business and get clients and referrals, but you do need at least a working knowledge of LinkedIn, right? So if there's anybody sitting here thinking, I need to become a social media expert, no, not necessarily. I'm not a social media expert, but people often think I am, but I play one on TV, right? But I'm really not. I know enough about things like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter that I can use it to make millions of dollars myself. I help my clients make hundreds of millions of dollars, but there's no tape on my glasses and there's no pocket protector. So as long as you know how to surf the internet a little bit and you know how to check your email, you've really got all the technical skills you really need. So at the end of the day, people do business with and refer business to people that they know, like, and trust. Would anybody disagree with that? I've really never met anybody that disagrees with that because it's kind of common sense. So I'm going to show you some ways to use LinkedIn to actually create sincere and authentic know, like, trust with other people so that business is accomplished much more easily. Does that make sense? I'm a pretty simple guy. Simple doesn't mean stupid. It just means I don't make things any more complicated than they need to be. So I would encourage you, as I run through what I'm going to show you here today, don't think so hard. Just kind of relax, let it kind of sink in, but don't overthink anything, because I'm not teaching quantum physics here. I'm just teaching very simple math, 1 + 1 kind of stuff. So, but at the end of the day, it's always going to come back to know, like, trust. So LinkedIn's been around for about 22 years. LinkedIn actually launched on Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, 2003. And I'm not really a tech guy, but in those days, I was not a professional speaker and coach yet. I had a sales job. And one of my coworkers sent me an invitation to get on LinkedIn in July of 2003. So it was only in existence for 60 days. And I looked at it and I went, oh, this is kind of like a Rolodex. Now, for the millennials, in the old days, we used to have this thing called a Rolodex. And it was either plastic or metal, and you would put business cards on it. And then they invented Palm Pilots. Anybody remember those things? And then we started getting cell phones, and everybody had their contacts in their cell phones, right? So now when I meet people that are typically under 30, I have to explain to them what a Rolodex is. You know, back in the old days, we had a business directory called a Rolodex. Well, I had been studying what to do with a Rolodex for years prior to the invention of LinkedIn. So when I got on LinkedIn, I think I looked at it a little bit differently than most people do. Most people look at LinkedIn like it's a resume. And I think that makes total logical sense until you meet me. And then I come along and I go, well, yeah, it's kind of like a resume, but it's a heck of a lot more than that. And it can be a really powerful business tool if you understand what to do with a Rolodex, professional networking, right? Not just throwing business cards at people, but how do we create, nurture, and deepen sincere and authentic relationships that lead to business? So, what's your first name?
Efren.
Efren. What a great name. Efren, have we ever met before? Are you a plant? Did I give you the answers in advance? No. Okay. So I've never met this guy in my life, but I'll bet you $1 he can give me the last word in the next sentence. Efren, you only have one chance to make a good first impression. Everybody knows that, right? So is it reasonable in 2025 to think that if somebody's thinking about doing business with you in any capacity, is it reasonable to think that they're probably going to check you out? Yeah. That doesn't mean they're trying to dig up skeletons in your closet or anything like that. It's really just if I'm thinking about doing something with Efren, I'm going to go look, I'm going to type his name into Google or LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, not because I'm trying to find skeletons in his closet, but because to the extent that I can understand a little bit about Efren, to that extent, I can create a relationship. Common sense, right? So what I always start with, and I do presentations that go from an hour to 2 days in length. I do 2-day boot camps. Obviously, we go much deeper. Today, I've got an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to move very, very quickly, okay? So most people, their LinkedIn profile doesn't look that good. Now, I'm not making a judgment on humans. Humans are beautiful, divine creations of God, designed for greatness and worthy of the desires of their heart. That's true. But that does not mean that they know how to make a good first impression. So before I get into showing you like lead generation strategies and all that other kind of stuff, if you're shooting yourself in the foot as far as making a first impression, you're making your job unnecessary. It's like Sarah here is awesome. But if Sarah shows up at a Tri-Lakes chamber meeting in a ripped up Metallica t-shirt with a coffee stain on it and bedhead, She's making it unnecessarily difficult for other people to see past that bad first impression, no matter how good she is at what she does. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spend a little bit of time giving you some LinkedIn profile optimization tips, which is just a fancy way of saying making your LinkedIn profile look a little better. And then we're going to shift gears and we're going to get into, okay, how do we attract clients? How do we get referrals from existing clients? Would that be okay, folks, if I kind of cover that until we run out of time? Is that cool? Okay. So I've been on LinkedIn for 22 years. I've probably looked at more LinkedIn profiles than anybody on earth because I've just been doing this for so darn long. And it's going to sound like I'm exaggerating when I say this, but I'm not exaggerating. I would bet you that about 95% of the 1 billion people that are on LinkedIn have LinkedIn profiles which really don't deliver a very good first impression. But that doesn't mean they're stupid people. It just means intellectually they understand that first impressions are important. But if we go look at their LinkedIn profile, clearly that intellectual understanding is not converting to a real world understanding. Everybody with me? I don't think there's one right way and one wrong way to have a LinkedIn profile. I think when you understand the principles behind what makes a good first impression, then you can do that within your personality, within your value system, within something that feels comfortable for you, okay? The way Abigail might want to give a first impression might be different than Andrew, right? The way Dan might do it might be different than Efren or Lauren in the back or Donna, right? But as long as you understand the principle, see, I'm a very much a principle guy. Every time I drop this, it goes down because gravity's a principle. But if Donna came up here and did it, it would go down too, even though she's female and she's 30 years younger than me, right? So gravity doesn't care about what you look like or what you even believe. Gravity just works because it's a principle. Well, I'm going to show you the principles behind an effective LinkedIn profile so then you can do it within your own personal situation. Make sense? Okay. I think a good LinkedIn profile is a blend of business professional and warm, friendly human being. That's it. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. Because most people look at LinkedIn like it's a resume, they are very heavy on business professional and there's almost no warm, friendly human being, okay? So I'm going to show you a couple of my private coaching clients and then I'm going to show you how you can do yours. What these people do for a living is irrelevant because gravity doesn't care, right? If you understand the principles, it's not like, oh, well, I'm a landscaper, how should my LinkedIn profile look? Oh, I'm a financial advisor, how should my LinkedIn profile look? Both of those people are trying to deliver a good first impression that's a blend of business professional and warm, friendly human being. So Andy's a financial advisor outside of New York City. He worked with me a couple years ago. He was a coaching client of mine. Nice headshot. You don't need to be spending thousands of dollars on a headshot. Go take a picture with your phone, put it on your LinkedIn profile. If you're a little anal retentive like me, I try to make things, right. Don't get overly concerned. You can always go back and change anything you want. None of this is written in stone. So if you're thinking, oh, I got to get this just right, no, you can mess it all up and we can go back and fix it, okay? But have a current picture. Don't have one that was taken 500 years ago. That's only going to confuse people, right? So smile. Now, when I was working with Andrew, it became clear to me very quickly that he puts a premium on work-life balance, okay? So when he's not working, he likes to play hockey, specifically outdoor hockey. So I said, why don't we take your background picture, we'll do half hockey, and we'll do half with your contact information. He liked that idea. If we go to my profile, I'm a professional speaker and coach. I speak all around the world. I want people to know that quickly. So I just took a picture of me on a stage somewhere so people go, oh, he's a speaker, right? But I could show you LinkedIn profiles all day long. What I'm saying is this is valuable real estate. To not have something there is a missed opportunity, okay? I could literally go right now on Google, type in Colorado Springs, click images. I could pull up 500 pictures of Colorado Springs, do a screenshot of one, and in 30 seconds, put it on your LinkedIn background picture. It's not complicated. It's very, very simple, okay? So you want to have a background picture. Underneath if you have any letters after your name, MBA, CLU, CFP, EIEIO, whatever you have after your name, that would be a good place to have it. And then once you go under your name, you're going to get to what's called your headline. So I'm going to show you Robert. So Robert's another coaching client of mine down in Florida. Underneath your name, you have 220 available characters. I would suggest you use it all for the simple reason that you have one chance to make a first impression, so why not maximize the chance, right? Because most people look at LinkedIn like it's a resume, what they typically do is they put, if you look at the people over here who I do not know, they usually put job title and company name. And the reason they're typically doing that is because they think LinkedIn's a resume, right? Communicate, financial advisor and owner, right? Founder and blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to suggest something a little different. I mentioned earlier that an illusion is not a denial of something, it's a misunderstanding of something. So people look at me and they go, Kevin, how do you help your clients make hundreds of millions of dollars? And they think that the answer is going to be because I turn them all into little LinkedIn ninjas. And I tell them, no, that's not really it. Because all things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. All roads really lead to conversation and relationship building skills. Okay, now if at any point in this presentation I sound like a motivational speaker, I'm not trying to sound like a motivational speaker, okay? So there's an illusion going on. People often think, oh, the reason I'm struggling in my business is I need better marketing, or I need better advertising, or it's because of Biden, or it's because of Trump, or it's because it's different in El Paso County than Boulder County. And or my competition has 2 basis points lower than these are all illusions. Because once you understand that all things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust, then your primary focus becomes, how do I get better at creating sincere and authentic know, like, trust? Listen to the simplicity of what I'm saying, okay? Well, if you're really trying to create know, like, trust, that's really a function of conversation and relationship building skills. It's a given that you're good at what you do for a living technically. But if just being good at what you do technically was going to lead people to your door, you would already have the evidence that that's so. Have you ever met people that are very good at what they do, but they still struggle to get clients and referrals? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be the evidence that just being really good at what you do is no guarantee of success? Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying that you shouldn't be good at what you do. I'm just taking it as a given that you're already good at what you do. I'm showing you the part that most people miss. So I say all that because all roads lead to conversation and relationship building. So because I've been studying professional networking for over 30 years, anything you study for 30 years, you're pretty good at, right? So when I meet a stranger, the most common question people ask when they meet a stranger, Efren, is, what do you do for a living? That's a rookie question. But rookie doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you're a rookie. If I met Efren and I said, what do you do for a living? He'd probably give me a job title. And I would think I know what that means, and more than likely, I probably wouldn't understand the nuances, and I'd be wrong. So when I meet a stranger, I don't really ever ask him, what do you do for a living? I ask a fundamentally different question. And I might say, hey, Jill, this is rhetorical, Jill, you don't have to answer this, okay? But I might say, hey, Jill, tell me how what you do for a living helps people. Totally different question than what do you do for a living? Because if I ask that, by definition, she can't give me a job title. If I said to Robert, tell me how what you do for a living helps people, he's not going to answer financial advisor. This will sound like a robot. He'll answer in conversational English, which by definition means we're getting into a conversation. So when Robert came to me, what it said under his name was founding partner, Riverside Wealth Advisors. And I said, that's factually accurate, and it doesn't tell anybody anything. I said, but if I met you at a cocktail party and I said, Robert, tell me how what you do for a living helps people. So I said, we put our heads together for about 5 minutes, and we came up with, I help small business owners and high net worth individuals prepare to retire in the 0% tax bracket, providing the tools and education to make their dreams reality. Well, I'm a couple fries short of a Happy Meal, but that's 1,000,000 times more descriptive than financial advisor, right? So I said, why don't we put I am the in front of founding partner, and then at, because that's conversational. What I really want you to hear is everything you're doing should be conversational in nature, because you're trying to get people into conversations, because that's what leads to business. Notice the simplicity of what I'm saying. So because you have 220 characters, he has enough bandwidth that he can give the job title and the company and then a short description of what he does. That's just one of many ways to handle your headline. If you go to me, I'm doing it a little differently, but it's not better, it's just different. I'm doing what I call a bullet point approach. International speaker author, a couple of years ago, LinkedIn turned on the ability to use emojis. So I've got a little star, social selling. So I'm using the 220 characters in a different way, but it's not better. It's just different. Sarah might like the Beatles. Abigail might like the Rolling Stones. It's still music, right? It's just different styles. That's all. And you can change it all at a moment's notice if you wanted to. Underneath there, obviously, in your contact information, if you have a website, put a link to your website. Put your phone number. Put a business mailing address. Use your professional email address, not your Yahoo, AOL, or Gmail address, unless that's your professional email address. But if you have a different one that you use for business, put that in there. I would suggest put your birthday in there too for numerous reasons, but we don't have enough time right now to get into all the reasons why. But I would suggest putting it in there. In your About section, you've got 2,600 available characters. If you have a website, more than likely you probably have an About page on your website. I would predict that if we just went to your About page and we copied and pasted it into your LinkedIn profile, that would probably be good enough, okay? I would suggest put it in first person because, again, you're trying to draw people into... If I met Sarah at a cocktail party and I said, Sarah, tell me what you do. Tell me a little bit about yourself. She would never say, well, Sarah went to college at XYZ College, and Sarah's been living in the on the Front Range. I'd be like, why is she talking in third person? That's kind of weird, you know? Is she like Jimmy in that Seinfeld episode that Jimmy likes Elaine? Anybody? I'm a big Seinfeld fan.
Yeah.
So, prior to becoming an international speaker and author and coach and all the stuff that I do, I actually, what I used to do for a living was I used to be a piano player in New York City. So for years, I played piano professionally. And then in the 90s, I got, through a chain of events, I was forced to get into sales, which was the last thing in the world I ever wanted to do. But God has a sense of humor. And, but I didn't study sales skills. I studied emotional intelligence, people skills, Dale Carnegie, that kind of stuff. And I became the top salesperson for a bunch of different, I had a really successful sales career. And one of the things I noticed was the only reason someone won't buy from you or won't hire you, if you have a product or service that can solve a problem for them and it's fairly priced and they need it, the only reason they won't buy it is because at some level, either conscious or unconscious, the other person has doubt or confusion in their mind, okay? So I said to myself early in my sales career, to the extent that I can, part of my job is to try to remove doubt and confusion. Because if I can remove doubt and confusion, then if I've got a viable product or service that's fairly priced, the likelihood of them buying it goes through the roof. The challenge for most people in business is they don't realize that they are the one actually introducing the doubt and confusion into the mind of the buyer. Pause for effect. We tend to think that there's all these external factors that are causing us to struggle in business, and then I come along and I go, if that was true, there would be evidence. I'm not trying to sound like a philosopher. I'm pointing at something so simple. But has anybody else noticed that often the most obvious thing is the last thing we notice? That's why I've got a flat forehead. It's like, oh my God, how did I miss that? How did I miss that, right? So if your About section is in third person, you're not really drawing the person into a conversation. You're pontificating like somebody. And so I'm saying put it in first person. Give a little bit about your background, maybe a little bit about what you do now, because you're going to have a lot more bandwidth to talk about what you do now in your experience section. In my opinion, most people have way too much information in their About section about what they do for a living. See, it's not called an let me impress you with why I'm the smartest person in the room section. It's called About section. If I meet Ann at a cocktail party and I go, Ann, I know that we're going to get to business in a couple of minutes, but before we do, tell me a little bit about you. Give me a little of your background, what you do now. She's like, oh my God, thank God. I'm so stressed out about trying to give Kevin my stupid elevator pitch, right? Now we can just talk like normal human beings. Remember, all things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Nowhere in that sentence is elevator pitch. Think about that. Nowhere in that sentence is even anything about what you do for a living. Again, people do business with you because, yes, you demonstrate you're capable to do the job, but you're also a normal human being that they could have a conversation or a cup of coffee with, and you're not going to try and intimidate them with trying to be the smartest person in the room. Depending on how much tequila I've had, when people ask me, Kevin, what do you do for a living? Sometimes my answer is I remind them that they're human. And people go, what do you sound like Yoda? And I go, well, I'm not trying to be Yoda, but a lot of people in business have lost an element of humanity. And they think that the reason they're struggling is because something about, I don't understand SEO or AI. I can't even spell AI, right? I'm not putting down AI, but it's not like that all things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust changed when they invented AI. It's still a principle. Gravity didn't change when somebody invented AI, right? Focus on principles. So make this human, and then what I would suggest is at the bottom of your about section, to whatever degree you're comfortable, include a little bit of information about what you do when you're not at work. And you're going to see in a few minutes how that's very, very smart to do for numerous reasons. One reason is because now you're a little more human. But when we get into lead generation and client attraction in a couple minutes, you're going to see how by having non-work related information in your LinkedIn profile is going to open doors for you so much faster than if you just are trying to look like you've got it all together and you're the smartest person in the room, okay? So again, you can do this within your comfort zone. A little bit about your background, a little bit about what you do now. If you do anything in your local business community, if you're a member of the Tri-Lakes Chamber, put that in there. I'm a member of the Tri-Lakes Chamber. I'm on this board, or I'm on that board, or I volunteer for this organization, or I volunteer for that organization. And then at the bottom, when I'm not serving my clients, some of the ways I enjoy spending my time would be going to concerts, watching football, specifically the Broncos, skiing, fishing, golfing, chasing my girlfriend around the house, whatever I want to say that's in my particular way of talking. The way Donna talks and the way I talk are going to be a little different because we're two different people. But the principle's going to be the same, okay? Again, I'm in no way suggesting getting out of your comfort zone. I'm not saying publish your social security number or get naked. I'm saying to whatever degree you're comfortable, just share. Here's a little bit about my background. Here's a little bit about what I do now. Here's how I'm active in the business community. And here's a little bit about what I like to do when I'm not at work. Underneath that, now LinkedIn has what's called a featured section. In the featured section, you can add various forms of media, white papers, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, Word documents, video. If you have a website, you probably have content on your website. Maybe you have a PDF, or maybe you've got a case study, or maybe you've got a video, or whatever. You could literally copy and paste that into your featured section. Doesn't cost a penny. It's free. Doesn't cost a nickel. So I could go for hours on this, but let me just give you a real simple idea. Mark, have you had people that you've helped write books for that are happy with the work you've done?
Yes.
Okay, I would imagine you would because you're a good guy, right? So imagine if Mark, he delivers the final product to his client, and then he says to his client, hey, thanks so much for working with me. It's been a pleasure. I'm so glad we started a great lifetime relationship. Can I get 30 seconds on why you chose to do business with me? And the person's going to be like, yeah, totally. Hey, I hired Mark and he helped me put my life story into a book form. And if you ever get a chance to work with him, I'd hire him in a minute. He under-promises and over-delivers. He's great. Now, Mark could take 4 or 5 of those videos, go down to Pikes Peak College, go to some film student, give him $20 and a 6-pack of Heineken, and he's got a Scorsese or Spielberg promo reel in an hour. Where other people are saying, you should hire, see, if Mark says you should hire me, that's arrogant. But if other people say, I hired Mark and he knocked it out of the park, man, I would have paid double for what he actually did for me. Now that's called a testimonial, that's proof, that's, whatever you want to call it. You could put that, if I was a real estate agent, oh my God, I'd be going to every house. Hey, this is Kevin Knebel in front of this house on Woodmore Drive in Monument, Colorado. There's the house. If I was a business owner looking to hire people, hey, this is Kevin Knebel at the office. Here's the front door. We're going to walk in. See that empty chair right there? That's got your name on it. You should apply to work. You're only limited by your imagination. Another way that I help my clients is I help them exercise their imagination muscle. Do you understand that imagination is like biceps? Anything you exercise is going to get stronger. Well, it's not hard to come up with very simple ideas that cost absolutely nothing. So I do a lot, I get interviewed a lot. I get interviewed on TV, podcasts, radio, magazines. So in my featured section, I usually have links to those interviews. That's how I use it, but that might not be the way that Kathy would use it. But if I show you the principle, hey, Kathy, you can put all kinds of media, white papers, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoints, Word documents, video. Kathy's not stupid. Kathy's like, oh, I could use it this way, or I could use it that way. When we get down to your experience section, a lot of things that I teach may initially sound kind of crazy, but in a crazy world, sanity sounds insane. Pause. So there's a lot of people out there that will tell you, do this or do that, but don't ask me why. I'm not that guy. If I make a suggestion, I will give you answers all day long as to why you may or may not agree with me, but I will never hide why I'm suggesting what I suggest, okay? The reason I'm giving you this disclaimer is because what I'm about to suggest now, I've been doing this for 23 years. I'm used to people looking at me like I'm crazy, but hear me out. In your experience section, I would suggest you put in every job you've ever had since the day you were born. I'm very used to people looking at me like I'm nuts, okay? There's two forms of pushback most people give. Number one, and they're both logical, by the way, but I have very logical answers. Number one, Kev, why would I put something in my education section that I did decades ago that has no relevance to what I do now? It's a very logical question. I've got multiple logical answers. Because in every position you've ever had, you're not trying to grandstand or showboat, but you could explain how what you did delivered value to the organization and by extension to clients. So every position you've ever had, you have the opportunity to actually demonstrate that you have a proven track record of delivering value no matter where you go, okay? That's really what the person's looking for. Most people are, oh, I'm afraid I'm gonna look like I'm job hopping. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I can take 7 words and say them in exactly the same order and mean 7 different things. I didn't say she stole the purse. 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 I didn't say she stole. Same exact words, same exact order, different meaning every time. So it's not always what you say. It's often, if you've been married for more than 5 minutes, you know this, okay? It's not always what you say. It's kind of how you say it, right? So I'm suggesting just put in every job. The second form of pushback is, Kevin, if I put in every job, they're going to know I'm old. And I say they already saw the picture, they know. Okay? Hopefully they chuckle. They don't always chuckle, by the way, okay? Underneath that, we get into education. 99% of the people I've ever met, and I've been doing this since dinosaurs were around, when I get to their education section, they don't have their high school. And then I go, Taylor, is your name Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Taylor, did you go to high school?
Sure did.
Was that part of your education?
Yep.
Then why is it not in your education section? I'm not pointing out, I'm just saying, because it might be in yours, I don't know. But the average person doesn't have their high school in their education section. One of the reasons why is because they're looking at LinkedIn like it's a resume. Have I mentioned that a couple times already? But if you're looking at this like it's an online cocktail party or online chamber meeting, then common sense would say that to the extent that you're willing to share with people who you are, where you come from, your journey through life, again, I'm not telling you to get naked or publish your social security number. But if you're, see, one of the things, anybody that's been in business for more than a couple minutes has probably come to the understanding that one of the things you're trying to do quickly is build rapport. I'm not talking schmoozing, I'm not talking blowing smoke up people's skirts. I'm talking about building rapport, right? Because until you build rapport, you've got nothing. Everybody with me? Well, if you understand that simple concept, well then to the extent that you're willing to share information on your LinkedIn profile, the more you're willing to share, the greater the likelihood you're going to build rapport faster. Also, remember, the person that's looking at your profile, they have a background too. They probably did things that you did in high school or college. So Kathy, we've never met.
Right.
Did you go to high school?
I did.
When you were in high school, did you play sports? Were you a band geek? Did you have a weekend job as a waitress, bussing tables? Did you have a boyfriend? Did you do any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So what I would say is in your LinkedIn, while I was attending XYZ high school, getting ready to go to college, and if you didn't go to college, who cares? It doesn't matter. While I was attending XYZ high school, My favorite subject was math because my teacher was cool. My worst favorite subject was history because my teacher was a jerk. I had a part-time job on the weekend working at a country club, bussing tables. Just what? See, if I met Sarah at a cocktail party and I just said, Sarah, did you go to high school? Sarah's like, yeah. I go, what was that like? All I have to ask is, what was that like? I don't have to be the world's best coach and have these deep, profound questions. Just, what was that like? And she's going to tell me what that was like. Whatever she tells me, it should say in her LinkedIn profile for numerous reasons. One of the reasons is that the person reads it and goes, oh, she's normal. She's somebody I could have a cup of coffee with, right? She's not grandstanding. She's just expressing that she's a human just like I am. And I understand that all things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. Last thing I want to say on this before we shift gears is every word that's in your LinkedIn profile is a searchable keyword. You're going to see in a couple minutes how powerful that really is. Because if we can use certain words to find people that have commonalities with us, I am not suggesting we just make small talk. No, 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 no. I'm suggesting that when you can get people into a conversation, you're halfway to the goal. Most people struggle in business because they can't get the people they want to do business with into a conversation. We don't need to make this complicated. So I could go much, much longer. I don't have enough time to do it. There's some tips on profile optimization. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, if we are not connected on LinkedIn, please feel free to send me a LinkedIn invitation. But don't do like most people do. Don't just hit send, because that would be evidence that you don't understand know, like, trust. Pause. Conversations are where the rubber meet the road. What's your first name?
Donna.
If Donna sends me a LinkedIn invitation and it's not personalized, she really has personalized it. By not personalizing it, what she's really saying to me is, hey, you schmuck. You're not even worth 5 seconds of my time to copy and paste a template and change the first name to Kev. So even though you couldn't pick me out of a lineup, here's my stupid LinkedIn invitation. You should accept it. Did I mention I was born and raised in New Jersey where they eat their young? I could be the nicest guy you ever met in your life, but I can go Jersey pretty fast too. Okay? So when you're not personalizing an invitation, you are personalizing an invitation. You're saying to the other person, you're not even worth 5 seconds of my time. You see, it's not always what we say. It's often what we don't say. Okay? So when you send somebody a LinkedIn invitation, you're limited to 300 characters, but that's enough. Hey, Kev, this is Donna. I laughed at your stupid jokes at the Tri-Lake Chamber earlier today. Knowing LinkedIn is the world's largest Rolodex, let's connect. Donna. And then I go, oh, Donna. Notice she didn't say, hey, Kev, this is Donna. You should hire me. Anybody like me? I'm sure a lot of hands are going to go up on this one. Anybody like me wakes up in the morning, you look at your LinkedIn invitations, and they're just blatant sales pitches from strangers? You do realize when you open your mouth, your brain's on parade. If you were a commission breath salesperson, before you got on LinkedIn, what reason would you have to believe you wouldn't be a commission breath salesperson on LinkedIn? If I have poor conversations face to face, what evidence do I have to think that the moment I get on social media or my cell phone or email, now I'm going to become Shakespeare? That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. If you have good conversation skills, does the conversation mechanism even matter? Not really, right? If I call Sarah and I swear at Sarah for 30 minutes on my phone, does Sarah get mad at my phone? No. She's like, Kevin's an idiot. Right, yeah, exactly. But Kevin's an idiot everywhere. It's not like Kevin's going to be only an idiot on LinkedIn, but then when you meet me face to face, I'm going to be the smartest person. No, you can't outrun your character, and thank God you can. Okay? So what I'm saying is, I'm teaching you a lot about LinkedIn, but what I'm really teaching you is go get something like How to Win Friends and Influence People and read it 100 times. Read it enough times so that if somebody put you on trial and accused you of having read this book, it would only take a jury 30 seconds to convict you. First principle, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Second principle, give honest and sincere appreciation. Third principle, arousing the other person in eager want. Next 6 chapters, How to get people to like you. Number 1, become genuinely interested in other people. Number 2, smile. Number 3, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Number 4, be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Number 5, talk in terms of the other person's interest. Number 6, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Oh, is Kevin trying to impress me with his memory? No. I'm trying to impress on you that to the extent that you know how to win friends and influence people, to that extent you're going to use a communication tool. I'm calling LinkedIn a communication tool. To the extent that you understand the business that you're really in. Efren, what business are you in? IT. IT. What business are you in?
Public relations marketing.
What business are you in?
Advertising.
What business are you in?
Recruiting.
Okay, now none of them are wrong. But now I'm going to point out something so ridiculously obvious, and it's often the obvious thing that's the last thing we notice. Could any of you do any of those things without humans? Did I mention I'm simple? You're all in the people business disguised as IT, public relations. I'm not trying to sound like a motivational speaker. I'm saying I don't care how good you are at what you do. If you can't attract people that will hire you to do what you do, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. So you are in the people business first, but most people miss that. And they don't spend really any time deepening their people skills. And therefore they think, oh, the reason I'm struggling is I need better PR skills or I need better IT skills. No, not really. You're pretty darn good at those things. You just think you understand know, like, trust. But if you did, you'd have the evidence. How do you know somebody really understands know, like, trust? They have a line of people out the door waiting to pay them to do what they do. Do you see the simplicity of what I'm saying? Kevin, how do you help your clients make so much money? It's not by helping them get better at IT. It's helping him understand that he's in the people business first. I'm not talking about schmoozing or sucking up. I'm talking about creating, nurturing, and deepening sincere and authentic relationships. Once you do that, game's over. You're printing money. You literally are, okay? So, send me a LinkedIn invitation and personalize it. Hey, Kev, I laughed at your dumb jokes at Tri-Lakes. Let's connect on LinkedIn. It's the world's largest Rolodex. If it asks you for my email address, kevin@kevinknevel.com. It may or may not ask you for that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I don't have enough time to get into why it does that, okay? I also have a list of LinkedIn tips that you can apply to your LinkedIn profile to make it look better. If you email me at kevin@kevinknevel.com and just say, Kevin, send me your LinkedIn tips. I'll email you my LinkedIn tips. And if you want the slide deck, which I'm not even referring to today, I'll even give you the slide deck, okay? So I'm paying it forward and saying, if you want some tips to do, now if you're a total overachiever, when you apply to your LinkedIn profile the suggestions that are in my tips, shoot me another email. Hey, Kevin, I updated my LinkedIn profile. Would you look it over? It's not going to take me more than 90 seconds sitting in some American Express Centurion lounge in some airport somewhere on the planet sucking down free Merlot for me to open up my laptop and go, Kathy, this is good, this is good. What if we tweak this? What if we tweak that? By the way, what percentage of the audience, whether it's 60 people or 1,000 people, what percentage of the audience do you think actually takes me up on that offer to look at their LinkedIn profile after they update it? 5%. 5%. Do you realize the bar is set so low? That's really helpful to know how low the bar is actually set. When you just exhibit a little bit of effort, you already far exceeded the majority of people that are doing just enough not to get fired, okay? So that's all I have to say about LinkedIn profile optimization. Now we're going to get into client acquisition, that kind of thing. A lot of speakers, I'm kind of a weird guy. My mind works in weird ways, but I don't run from that. I embrace it. And I use it to my advantage, which is to your advantage. So, because I'm simple, because I speak at a lot of businesses and conferences around the world, I hear a lot of other speakers, right? And one of the things I've noticed over the years is a lot of speakers and coaches and consultants, they're often trying to teach you to either change the way you think or to believe something. I'm actually not trying to get you to do either. I'm actually just showing you how something works. That's why I keep using the word principle, okay? So now I'm going to show you how client acquisition works, but I'm not asking you to believe me. If I say, hey, Kathy, gravity exists, am I trying to get you to believe it? No, I'm just saying. You might not be able to see gravity, but you can see the effects of it. But I'm not trying to sell you on the concept of gravity. All I'm doing is just going, look, every time I drop this, it goes down. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? All right? That's a principle. Well, I'm going to show you how client acquisition really works. I wish somebody had shown me this when I first got into sales in 1992. It would have saved me a lot of time. But now I'm going to save you a lot of time, okay, if you're willing to have an open mind and really hear what I'm saying. But I'm not trying to get you to believe a darn thing. I'm just trying to show you, to use a metaphor, how gravity works, okay? So, the way it looks to me is if you're good at what you do for a living, the first step is you have to have ways to find and be found by the people that you want to do something with. Again, don't be fooled by the simplicity of what I'm showing you. Gravity's simple too, okay? Sometimes people go, Kevin, it couldn't be this simple. That's like saying, well, Kevin, you can't possibly be telling me that every time you drop this, it's going to go down. No, actually, I am telling you that because it's a principle, right? It's not like it changes if you're in Germany or you identify as a farm animal, okay? These are the jokes, folks, okay? Gravity doesn't care about your opinion. Gravity just does what gravity does. So I'm appealing to your common sense, but I'm assuming you have some. Pause for effect. Number one, no matter how good Taylor is at what he does, Taylor, you still have to be able to find or be found by the right people, right? I'm going to show you in a minute how that's as easy as breathing, and I mean that literally. Once you find them or they find you, you have to get them into a conversation without them showing you the door. This is where almost everybody innocently drops the ball because they're actually not trying to get people into conversations. They're trying to get them into thinly veiled sales pitches known as elevator pitches and all kinds of other crap. Then I come along and I go, how's that work? I do Dr. Phil. How's that working out? And they go, well, it's not working out that well. And I go, well, you're a pretty smart person. If you did something over and over and over and it wasn't working well, maybe you might want to try a different approach. Radical concepts, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, I just need to work harder. No, this isn't a question of your work ethic. This is a question of if you're going to go fishing and you're fundamentally using the wrong bait, you could just frustrate the crap out of yourself for the rest of your life. But if I say, no, there's actually better bait, okay, let me try some different bait, okay? So I'm going to show you in a few moments how easy it is to get a stranger into a conversation without them slamming the door in your face. Once you get them into a conversation, you're already more than halfway to the goal. Because 99% of your competition can't even get the other person into a conversation. Kevin, how do you help your clients make so much money? I help them get into so many conversations with so many people they'd like to do business with that even if they screw up the conversations, the law of averages has their back. Anybody ever read the Bible? Yes. Anybody remember the part where Jesus was saying drop some seeds on the ground and some of them they would grow a little bit and the storm would come and blow it away, and some of them they would grow roots and they would grow strong? Anybody else other than me weird enough to realize that was an MBA in sales? I'm not preaching here. I'm not trying to, talk Christianity. I'm just using a metaphor. I'm saying the reason most people struggle is because they mother hen. This is going to be my big deal. In their mind, they're already spending the commission check. Or I'm going to, instead of just going, see, what I could summarize Jesus' sermon in just a couple words. Plant your butt off. Now, Jesus would have said, plant thy butt off. Okay? But, because, Jesus talked in Old English, right? So, did you notice in that, when Jesus talked about planting the seeds, he didn't say control the wind. He didn't say control the sun. He didn't say control the soil composition. Are you aware that there's really only two things in this world you can control? Your work ethic and your attitude. And by the way, that's the only thing you ever need to control. If you just control your work ethic and your attitude, you're going to win you're going to be like the house in Vegas. You're going to win every time if they sit there long enough. But we live in a society that tries to convince you to control the weather. I'm using metaphors. And then I come along and I go, why are you stressing yourself out? Why don't you just plant your butt? See, all I do is I just plant my butt off. That's why I've got my butt, okay? I just plant and plant and plant because I know if I plant enough, there's this thing called the law of averages. What most people don't realize is they're using the law of averages every day, but most people are actually using it against themselves. They just don't realize it. By not planting, by definition, they're forced to try to make something happen. When a farmer plants seeds, do they try to make something happen? No, they just go plant more seeds. Because they know, I don't know which seed's going to grow, but I know if I plant enough of them, something's going to grow. Well, why wouldn't we take that common sense to business? We innocently forget simple common sense that we understood when we were younger. But we get a little older and all of a sudden we forget common sense, as you'll see in a moment. So step one is you have to have ways to find and be found by the right people. Once you find them or they find you, you have to get them into a conversation, because ain't nothing gonna happen if you don't get them into a conversation. Now, Barbara, would you agree with me that not everybody that you get into a conversation is gonna be immediately ready and willing to do business with you?
Yes.
Absolutely. So then common sense would say, you better have some methods for how to stay in communication with those people, but without becoming a nuisance or a pest or appearing desperate or pushy or salesy or creepy or anything other than sincere and authentic. So years ago, I invented a system. We will not have enough time to get into this today, but I invented a very, very simple system. It's made me personally millions of dollars, but it's made my clients hundreds of millions of dollars. How do you stay in communication with people in a way that keeps you top of mind without turning you into a pain in the butt? Right? It's really not that complicated when you understand conversation and relationship building skills. But for today's purposes, because I got 31 minutes left, we're probably not going to get into step 3. Let's just cover step 1 and step 2. Okay? So let's go back. So I'm proposing to you that client acquisition is basically a 3-step system. The hardest part in our ADHD world is to remember that when you're getting distracted by 1,000 different distractions. AI, tariffs, all it's like, and then I come along and I go, Sarah, just focus on these 3 steps, baby. If you just focus on these 3 steps to the best you can and you don't get distracted, you're gonna win. But we tend to get distracted. Part of my job is to just keep bringing people back to know, like, trust, hang in there, it's a principle. It might not look like it is, but hang in there, it is, okay? So, let's go back to LinkedIn, because I don't want you to walk out of here thinking those 3 steps are some abstract philosophical theory that I'm giving you. Let me make it real for you, okay? I'm gonna use Donna in the back of the room. Donna, you and I met once, I think it was in December, when I spoke here in December, very quickly. But other than that, and I think we did a Zoom meeting very quickly, because I offered you, hey, let's get together for an hour on Zoom, I'll help you. Did I invoice you for that, by the way?
No.
No, and I never will, okay? So, but you're a financial advisor, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna use Donna as an example, but it doesn't matter what Donna does, because I would predict that for most of you in this room, if not all of you, it's gonna be the same 3 steps, okay? So I'm gonna now take, for the next 20, 25 minutes, I'm gonna pretend that I'm Donna. And I'm gonna show you some of the things that I would do if I were Donna trying to bring on new clients. Is that okay? Isn't that better than me just doing some canned spiel? Isn't it better to take a real life human being in the audience? Now I could do Donna, I could do Andrew with the restoration, with the remediation service. I could do Dan with his consulting. I could, because gravity works. I could do Mark with his author program, because gravity works. The illusion is that you're all in different businesses. No, you're all in the people business. How you generate income is secondary to an understanding that you're in the people business first. Okay? So Donna, let's assume, for the sake of demonstration, is it Catlin?
Yes.
Okay. So here's Donna. I don't know if Donna has, okay, so I can already see Donna has not really done some of the things that I taught her. But I'm not saying that as a criticism. It's just an observation. Because if she had, it would say more than job title and company. It would say, I help families secure their financial future so they don't have to sell the house to put the kids through college, or something like that. Because if I met Donna at a cocktail party and I said, Donna, tell me how what you do for a living helps people, she ain't gonna say investment advisor representative at Primerica. Because I'd look at her like, she talks weird. Anybody with me on this? But that's okay, I can still use Donna as an example, okay? So here's Donna's first impression that she's delivering to people when they look at her LinkedIn profile. Actually, I'm not gonna use Donna. Because there's not even an about section, okay? No offense, Donna, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, okay? What do you do?
Well, I'm in the people business.
Yeah.
But
He's good.
so just for the record, in your network, I'm in there. I sent a quick LinkedIn after I shook your hand, but it's not personalized, so I didn't want to get myself.
Victor, what's your last name?
Granados, Granados.
There it is. Okay, so we're not connected yet. Okay, because I can see that we're a second degree. But that's okay. I'm going to use this guy. Do we know each other?
No.
No, we don't know each other. Okay. Robert Half, I know that's like staffing and other things like that. Okay.
Right.
So here's Victor. Let's use Victor. No offense, Don. Okay. Let's use Victor as an example. I'm going to pretend I'm Victor for the next couple of minutes. Okay. But I have to say the starting point is let's pretend that we've already optimized his LinkedIn profile. Optimized just means his LinkedIn profile is now a good blend of business professional and warm, friendly human. Okay? That's all I'm saying. So, I look here and then I say, okay, Victor, the first step in my 3-step system, I'm just looking over this real fast. Okay? Okay, got it. Okay, that's all I need to know. First step, no matter how good you are at what you do, Victor, you still have to have ways to find and be found by the right people. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Of course. Now, because of time constraints, lots of people use the free version of LinkedIn, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the free version of LinkedIn. I use a lot of metaphors. Let's look at the free version of LinkedIn like it's a Cadillac. A Cadillac is a nice, safe, good-looking car that will get you where you want to go. There's nothing wrong with that. But because I have limited time today, we're going to jump into a Mercedes S500. Okay? So LinkedIn actually offers different paid versions of LinkedIn. I wish to God that I got a commission when people upgraded, because God knows how many thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have actually purchased an upgraded version of LinkedIn after hearing me teach. Okay? But they don't give me a penny. I have no formal relationship with LinkedIn whatsoever. So because of time constraints, I'm not going to really show you the Cadillac. The Cadillac will do a version of what I'm about to show you. It's not bad, but I figure if I got 20 minutes, I'm just going to show you the Mercedes S500. Okay? So, the first step in my 3-step system, Victor, is you have to have ways to find and be found by the right kind of people. So I'm going to go to the Mercedes S500 or the Lamborghini Diablo called Sales Navigator, which should really be called Relationship Navigator, because the word sales freaks certain people out. It's really about relationships. If you're good at sales, you're good at relationships, okay? So, real fast, in 10 seconds or less, Victor, I'm sure there's all kinds of different people that you can help. But what are you looking for business owners? Are you looking for HR directors? Are you looking for people in transition? Tell me a little bit about the kind of people that would fit step 1, the kind of people that you need to find or be found by.
So twofold, I work with businesses that look to hire in accounting and finance, but I look for accountants. I look for people that are accountants that are passively looking for their next full-time opportunity.
Love it. Thank you. Okay, so right now what we're doing is we're looking at a page on LinkedIn that most people are not familiar with. There's 1 billion people on LinkedIn, and there's 2 to 5 people getting on LinkedIn every second for the very first time, okay? If we're gonna go fishing, wouldn't common sense say we should go where the fish are? Here's where the fish are, okay? So what he just told me is he's looking for business owners that might have accounting needs or other needs in that general area, and he's also looking for accountants themselves, okay? So he's given me a couple options here. So I say to myself, because I'm simple, how could I go find some of those people? Remember, I'm saying you have to have ways to find and be found. I'm just showing you one of many, many ways to either both be find or be found, but I'm just doing it fast and dirty, okay? So you may or may not have geographical limitations, Victor, but I want to show you here where it says geography. When I go in here, I could type in any city, state, country, or even a zip code. If I typed in 80312, is that?
80132.
80132. I lived here for 15 years, I forgot. 801. If I typed in 80132, I could do anywhere from a 1 mile to a 100-mile radius. Or I could just type in Monument. Or I could just type in Colorado. Or I could just type in North America. I could do whatever the heck I want to do. So just for today's demonstration, for time's sake, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 80903, which is downtown Colorado Springs. And I'm just going to, for kicks, I'm going to do a 50-mile radius. Okay? Look in the upper right-hand corner. That's going to tell you how many people are within 50 miles of downtown Colorado Springs that have a LinkedIn profile. You probably can't see it in the back. It's 590,000 people. Okay? So within 50 miles of downtown Colorado, of the famous downtown Great Steaks, or maybe you like Mackenzie's Chop House, whatever, right? Or maybe you like Lulu's upstairs, where I saw a great concert a couple weeks ago with Steely Dan, because they take the music of Steely Dan, the Grateful Dead, they put it together. It's awesome. So, that's me, right? I'm a musician. So I know within 50 miles of downtown Colorado Springs, there's over 590,000 people that have a LinkedIn profile, but they're not all the kind of people you're looking for, okay? So you told me you're looking for people that are business owners. So I say to myself, what might a business owner have in their current job title on LinkedIn? Now, there's no mandate that says that a business owner has to have CEO or president, so I have to be a little creative. So I say, okay, let's put in CEO. Let's also put in president. And just for kicks, we'll also put in owner. How many people within 50 miles of downtown Colorado Springs have a LinkedIn profile, and I know that somewhere in their current job title, they've got CEO, president, or owner? Now we're down to 61,000 people. We're going in the right direction, Victor, right? But 61,000 is still kind of an unmanageable number. It's still kind of big, right? So then Victor goes, well, I'm looking for people that maybe are in the accounting field. Well, LinkedIn used to support 110 industries, but a couple years ago, they upped it to over 400 industries. So I'm wondering if there's accounting. Oh, there is. So now I click accounting. How many of those 61,000 people? Now I've got 934 people that I know for certain, with 100% certainty. I know that there are 934 people within 50 miles of downtown Colorado Springs that have a LinkedIn profile, and in their current job title is either CEO, president, or owner, and every one of those people has put themselves into the accounting industry. Is this blowing anybody's mind? Should be. If it's not, you're not getting it. No offense. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to talk Jersey. If you're sitting there going, this is cool, you know, this is way better. If you were like me or Dan with some gray in our hair, we couldn't have fantasized about this in our wildest fantasies. Kevin, you're telling me I can find people almost down to eye color that fit my ideal client profile? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's going to get a lot better in a couple seconds, too. So now I've got 934 people. If I wanted to say, I want to find these people that have a certain number of employees. I want to find these people that have owned their business for a certain number of years. I want to find the people that went to the same college or high school as Victor. I want to find the people that speak Spanish. I'm only limited by my imagination. And I assure you, I've got a very good imagination. But now I'm going to show you how something I taught you 20 minutes ago has multiple applications. Almost everything I teach has multiple applications, but you might not initially know that. Not because you're unintelligent. I'm just going so fast and you don't see the whole big picture yet. I'm playing chess 5 moves in advance. But it's not because I'm some chess grandmaster. I've just been doing this for so darn long, okay? Remember, Victor, when I told you about 20 minutes ago, to whatever degree you're comfortable, include information in your LinkedIn profile that might not necessarily be about your work. When I'm not serving my clients, some of the way I enjoy spending my time include watching Broncos game, going traveling with my wife, going places that have palm trees, you know, drinking margaritas, whatever you want to say that you feel comfortable saying. Do you remember I also said every word that's in your LinkedIn profile is a searchable keyword? So maybe there's a good reason to have different kinds of words in your LinkedIn profile beyond the fact that it just makes you human. Maybe we could use some of those words to find people that you have something in common with, not because we're going to schmooze, but wouldn't common sense say if you can see that you have something in common with somebody, it should be easier to get them into a conversation than if you have no clue you have anything in common with them? Do you see the simplicity of what I'm saying? Don't overthink this, folks. You're sitting on a gold mine and you probably don't even realize it, right? So if I go back to Victor's profile, even though I know it hasn't been optimized yet, what's he got in here? He's got a bunch of crap about why he's good at what he does. By the way, you ever go to a cocktail party or a Tri-Lakes chamber meeting and meet the person at the moment they open their mouth and they start talking, all they do is talk about themselves and why they're so good at what they do? That's probably what your LinkedIn profile looks like right now. Anybody getting what I'm laying down here? Now, do you think that person wakes up in the morning and says, I can't wait to get to the Tri-Lakes chamber meeting and repel everybody I want to attract? I don't think they say that. You ever meet somebody with really, really bad breath? Do you think that person wakes up in the morning and says to themselves, I wonder how rancid I can can get my breath today, and how many people I can repel. I don't think they say that. I think they have an innocent misunderstanding of oral hygiene. And then they go to a chamber meeting and they wonder why they can't get into more than 5 seconds of a conversation with anybody, but they don't realize that they're the one repelling the people. Anybody getting these metaphors? I spend absolutely none of my time trying to look like the smartest person in the room. I spend none of my time trying to look like I'm the subject matter expert. I spend a good amount of my time just being a normal human being. Because I understand that people do business with normal human beings that demonstrate that they can do the job. You ever meet somebody that's really good at what they do for a living, but they're an absolute jackass when it comes to communicating with other human beings? And then you don't hire that person and they think, oh, I just need to get more letters after my name. No, you just need to stop being a jerk. Kevin, how do you help people make so much money? I help them be a little bit more normal. Get back to how they were before they started believing all the crap that they are getting sold by society about trying to look like the smartest person in the room. By the way, if you make a claim, shouldn't there be evidence to back it up? Is there any evidence to back up that people hire the smartest person in the room? No. But there's plenty of evidence to show that people hire the person that demonstrates that they can do the job and they're not a jerk. Life is the easiest thing you've ever done. You've been lifing just fine all along, other than what you're thinking and believing. Anyway, so what can I see about Victor? I can see where he went to school. I can't see where he went to school. It doesn't even have that. But don't worry about it. Wells Fargo, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so Victor, the first thing we would do is we would optimize your profile. When you're not working, Victor, do you like to travel? Do you like football? Do you like sports? Do you like golf? Let's just go with golf, okay? Easy enough. Let's pretend that the word golf was in his LinkedIn profile somewhere, which it should be, right? So I go back to SalesNav. I've got 934 people, which is already a manageable number, but I'm gonna make it even easier. Do you see here at the top of the page where it says search keywords? Listen to this closely. Any word or combination of words I type in that box, LinkedIn is going to see if any of these 934 people have that word in their LinkedIn profile. If that's not blowing your mind, you're not hearing me. I have no idea what's going to happen, Victor. Let's find out together. I'm going to type in golf. I know for a fact that 2 of those people have the word golf in their LinkedIn profile. Now, I'm just doing this fast and dirty. I could type in travel, I could type in Broncos, I could type in football, I could type in music, I could type in, this is why I'm telling you, you want to have a blend of business professional and warm, friendly human. For more than just because you want to look like a warm, friendly human, another reason is because to the extent that you can see that you have something in common with another human being and you're not some commission breath salesperson, to that extent you could easily get them into a conversation, as I'm about to demonstrate. Do you like to travel?
No,
You don't like to travel? Do you like football?
I do like football.
Just for kicks. Let's just type it in. I have no idea what's going to happen. It might be 0, okay? I don't know. But I'm just doing this so fast and dirty, okay? How about...
All right, put travel. My wife does.
Good to put the boss in there. Okay, so there's 17. Okay, let's just go with travel. Okay. By the way, we do what it should say in your profile. When I'm not serving my clients, I like to travel with my wife.
Or my wife makes me travel.
Or my wife makes me travel. Now, did you know? Now, let's just talk about that for because what she just did there was brilliant. Because what she just said is exactly the way she would say it at a cocktail party. She's not overthinking it. She's just talking. So in her LinkedIn profile, maybe Victor says, you know, when I'm not working, I'm not a big fan of travel, but my wife is, and I'm a big fan of my wife, so therefore I travel. Right? Isn't that just being human? Right? You understand teaching people how to be human again pays well? Really well. Okay? So we're going to go with travel. Now I've got 17 people. Then Victor says, Kevin, I don't want to have to do this every day. That's going to be a pain in the butt. Click that button right there. What I just did was I put those particular search parameters on autopilot. And what that means is starting right this second until either I die or I tell it to stop. Every second of every minute of every hour, day, week, month, and year going forward into the future, LinkedIn is searching every single second for anybody beyond the initial 17. And once a week, LinkedIn emails Victor and says, Victor, This week we found X number of people that fit your search parameter. Click here to see who they are. Want me to prove it? So this is what Victor and I just created. There's no new results because we just created it 60 seconds ago. I don't remember who I was talking with on August 28th because I really don't care. I just forgot to delete it. Apparently I was teaching this to somebody on August 28th, and we set up a search for the state of Kansas. For Victor, we did 50 miles of 80903. For this person, we did industry, hospital and healthcare, and medical practices. For Victor, we did accounting. This one, we didn't do, we did the same keyword, travel, travel. For Victor, we did a job title. For this one, we did no job title. This one here, I did something here on May 2nd of last year. I did New York State, CEO, president, owner, 11 to 200 employees, and somewhere in their LinkedIn profile has to be the word skiing. And this one, can you see that there's multiple searches all running at the same time while I'm sleeping? So when I did this one 6 months ago, Kevin, you're telling me that since you started this on August 28th, LinkedIn has found 499 new humans that fit that search parameter that didn't fit that search parameter on August 28th? And if you clicked on that button, it would show you every one of those humans? Yeah. If this is not blowing your mind, no offense, you're asleep. By the way, 99.9% of your competitors don't even know this exists because you didn't know it existed before 60 seconds ago. Let me use another metaphor. You're currently in a race against your competition. You're all driving rusted out 1974 lime green Pacers. I am literally throwing you the keys to a Lamborghini Diablo. They don't stand a chance. They won't even see your dust. I just took your marketing budget down to 0. By the way, the marketing people in the room hate me. But I'm not saying you shouldn't do marketing. You should do marketing. There's a time and a place for marketing, but don't fool yourself. Marketing will get people to the table, but know, like, trust will get the deal done. Okay? I'm not putting down marketing. There's a time and a place for marketing and advertising. Okay? By the way, you didn't do any marketing with your spouse. I don't have enough time to explore that one. So, would you agree with me, Victor, that we have accomplished step 1 so far? We have to have ways to find and be found. So I just showed you one of many ways to find people. Are we in agreement? Okay? Are any of these people in a million years ever going to do business with you without a conversation taking place? Then you just validated my second step. See, I'm not trying to get you to believe anything. I'm just trying to show you what's the game that's really being played. Because you would be led to believe you're playing the marketing game, or you're playing the I'm better at doing this than my competition game, and then I come along and I go, no, it's not about that. It's about know, like, trust, right? Every time I drop this, it goes down. So you just validated, instead of me trying to convince you, Victor, you're trying to convince me. Kevin, it's great that you found me all these people, but if I can't get them into a conversation, nothing's going to happen. No problem. Hey, Victor, is your ability to get people into a conversation based on your conversation skills or your LinkedIn skills? Conversations. 100% of the time, huh? Anybody noticed in the last hour and a half I've mentioned it's all roads lead to conversation skills? Anybody hearing what I'm saying? I'm not just making this stuff up, right? I don't care how much you know about LinkedIn. If you were a commission breath salesperson before you got on LinkedIn, now you're just a commission breath salesperson on LinkedIn. The biggest illusion is that Kevin's a LinkedIn guy. Do you call Picasso a canvas guy? These are the jokes, folks. Do you call Mario Andretti, the race car driver, the stick shift guy? And why the hell would you call me the LinkedIn guy? You call me on the telephone. Do I call you the phone guy? Do you see the simplicity of what I'm teaching here? No matter how much technology changes, and it will change. I was alive when an 8-track player was state of the art. And then I saw albums and cassettes and CDs and streaming. But it's still, whether I listened to Abbey Road in 1969 on vinyl, or whether I stream Abbey Road by the Beatles on my phone, it's still Abbey Road. The only thing that's changed is the mechanism through which I listen to Abbey Road. But we live in a society that would convince you that the mechanism is the most important thing. No, it ain't. It's the same Abbey Road. It's the same know, like, trust. Okay? I just am so uncompromising that no matter what comes down the pike, I will not get deviated off of know, like, trust. I will use whatever the current technology is to my advantage, but I always understand the game I'm playing is know, like, trust. It's not AI, SEO, EIEIO. It's know, like, trust, okay? So let's just go to the first guy. If I go to this guy who's also a CPA or an accountant, I already know that most people's LinkedIn profiles stink, but that doesn't matter. If you have good conversation skills, you'll have enough to start a conversation. So here's some guy that may or may not fit the profile of the guy you want to meet. For time constraints, I got 6 minutes left. I'm going to rip through this, okay? If you hear absolutely nothing I say here today, just hear this one sentence, because this will sum everything up. The people that you want to do business with are telling you everything you need to know to get them into a conversation. Yet, you and I were trained to ignore all of that and go for the elevator pitch. That is the height of insanity. That would be like me taking Sarah to dinner. Hey, Sarah, thanks so much for coming out to dinner with me at this nice Italian restaurant. We get a nice bottle of wine. We sit down at the table. Sarah, I've been looking forward to having dinner with you all week long. Thanks so much. Listen, hey, if it's okay with you, could you tell me a little bit about your background and your journey through life and some of your hopes and dreams and maybe a little bit about what you do now and what you'd like to do in the future? I just want to learn about you. And Sarah's thinking, this is the man of my dreams. Where's this guy been hiding all my life, right? Then she tells me everything I just asked for, and when she's done, I go, you know what? I really don't care about any of that. Can I just impress you with why I'm so impressive? She would stand up, throw the glass of wine in my face, and walk out of the restaurant. And she should. Anybody understand that I'm talking about what most people do all day long? The people you want to do business with, because we have this new thing called the internet. Thank you, Al Gore. We have this thing here. They're telling you everything you need to know to take a Dale Carnegie 101. Take a sincere interest in other people. I just take a sincere interest in them with my eyes, right? What is this guy willing to tell me? Well, I guess he likes mountains. There's some mountains, right? What else is he telling me? Nomadic CPA, that's kind of cool. Starting block, part-time RVer. Now I know he likes RVs because I'm smart enough to shut my stupid mouth and listen to what they're telling me. Instead of trying to impress him how I can solve all his problems. You're not in the IT business. You're in the people business disguised as IT, okay? He's in Colorado Springs, I'm in Colorado Springs. I can start a conversation about that. University of Georgia, I never went to the University of Georgia, but I've been to Georgia countless times. I can start a conversation about that. LinkedIn's telling me we have 8 mutual friends. Couldn't I start 8 different conversations with that alone? I haven't even scrolled down yet, right? Then I start scrolling down. What's he telling me? He's telling me he doesn't really understand much about how to have a good LinkedIn profile, but I don't hold it against him. He doesn't know any better. But I'm not saying I'm smarter or some enlightened Buddha. I'm just going, oh, he doesn't know any better, just like everybody else. No big deal, right? He's telling me he's CPA, he likes New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand. If I had to leave the United States, I'd move to New Zealand in a minute. That's my number 1 on my bucket list, right? They're right there. He's telling me that. Casito Travel Trailer. He's telling me how long he's owned his business. He's telling me taxes are annoying. I believe that too, okay? So he's telling me everything I need to know. Did a semester at sea. My 14-year-old daughter, I've got 3 kids, 27, 23, 14. My 14-year-old's probably going to Costa Rica this year, similar to this, because she wants to be a marine biologist. I'm not a CPA, but I've worked with countless CPAs. I can spell CPA. He's telling me everything I need to know. If I'm just smart enough, I'm learning French right now. I'm on day 576 on Duolingo, okay? Southern, he's native or bilingual. See, so he's got a sense of humor. He's human. Languages, Southern. I like this guy already. So now I'm going to pretend I'm you, and we'll close up with this. Are you ever going to do business with this guy in a million years, Victor, if you don't get him into a conversation? Are you married?
Yes.
What's your spouse's first name?
Barbara.
Barbara. Do you consider yourself a relatively honest guy?
Yes.
When you first laid eyes on Barbara, were you attracted to her?
Yes.
So I'm assuming because you're an honest guy, you walked up to her and you said, look, I don't know your name. My name's Victor. I find you very attractive. We should make out.
No.
How come, I could go for hours on this. I used to believe what you believe. I used to believe that life worked differently in business than it works outside of business. And then I just paused for a moment and I said, if that's true, there should be evidence. And the more I looked, I never found the evidence. I said, wait a minute. Victor didn't walk up to Barbara and propose marriage. But in business, he's been taught to walk up to strangers and hit them with an elevator pitch. That's effing ridiculous. If you think it works, show me the evidence. Consistent evidence over time. You might get lucky every once in a while, but you will burn so many bridges that you cannot go over in the future. That is not a smart strategy. Burning bridges is not. So what you did, you see, when I introduce people to these 3 steps, they think I'm talking about business. No, I'm talking about life. Once you understand how life works, business becomes 100 times easier. But if you think that the rules of business are different than the rules of non-business, you are going to struggle. Look around, okay? What you did with Barbara was this. You identified Barbara as somebody you wanted to do something with. You walked up to her and you started a conversation, and then you nurtured it with some dinner, some coffee, and some movies, and eventually you kissed. You kissed when sufficient know-like trust was created. But you didn't think of it in these cold clinical terms in which I'm teaching it. I'm just demonstrating. I'm not trying to get you to believe anything. I'm just teaching you how gravity works. So, in summary, as we close up, if you send this guy a message that says, hey, Adam, we help people like you, you should hire us, delete. By the way, that's what you're doing. Don't believe me? Where are your results? Most of my clients are type A off the charts. Kevin, I would never do that. You do it all day long and I'll prove it. If you have phone calls that don't get returned, emails that go into a black hole, and prospects that join the witness relocation program, you might like to think that your commission breath is not that bad. It is. What if I said something like this? If we were to ever work together, you wouldn't say it exactly the way I say it because I'm not you, but you would use the same principles, okay? Hey Adam, my name's Victor. I was playing around with LinkedIn, came across your profile, noticed we had a couple things in common, so I thought I'd say hi. Notice we both get to live and work in beautiful Colorado Springs. Notice we both know Tracy. How the heck do you know her? And notice we both like to travel. Actually, I'm not that big on travel, but my wife likes to travel, and I kind of like my wife. Recently, we came back from Wyoming. I'd love to hear where you're traveling. Maybe we can compare notes. I meet a lot of people. How would I know if someone I'm speaking with might be someone I should steer your way for new venture CPA? Anyway, I'm late for a meeting. If you're ever on my side of town, give me a shout. I'll buy the first round at Starbucks. Go Broncos, Victor. That's a demonstration of effective conversation skills. Did I promise anything? No. Did I ask for anything? No. Did I even mention what I do for a living? No. Because I'm smart enough to realize that when I meet Barbara, walking up to her and proposing marriage is stupid. It would be much smarter to walk up to Barbara and start a conversation. Do not read into what I'm saying, making small talk forever. I am not saying that. What I'm saying is so simple, but you have been trained to think in complex ways. Just break it down. You have to have ways to find and be found. You have to have ways to get people into a conversation before you're ever going to be able to move it to your product or service. And you have to have ways to demonstrate that you're not a jerk. You just get those 3 steps down. You're printing money. I want to be respectful of the time. We're done. If you want to go deeper, call me, email me, text me. I don't live in Timbuktu. I live in Colorado Springs. I'd love to have coffee or whatever. Thank you, Abigail.
Yes.
Thank you, people watching online.
Yeah.